at 6. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. New tonight, investigators released new body cam and dash cam video from a deadly police-involved shooting in Ansonia.
The Office of the Inspector General released its preliminary report into the incident, which involved Bridgeport police officers, and that's where we find Fox 61's Matt Karen tonight. Matt.
Well, good evening from Bridgeport Police Headquarters. As you mentioned, this incident involved 2 officers and 1 sergeant, all 3 of them firing their weapons. They remain on desk duty.
He's on Division Street northbound, making his way to the intersection of Division and Wakely.
Newly released dash and body camera video from 4 perspectives shows the tense moments before and after officers shot a suspect.
Shot fired! Shot fired!
Sunday evening in the Park City, Bridgeport Police Tactical Narcotics Unit gets a tip about a man driving around with guns and drugs. That man later identified as 41-year-old Jonathan Mark Lewis Bell.
Watch his hands! Watch his hands! Watch his hands!
Bridgeport police saw Bell driving a Mercedes SUV with a female passenger on Oak Street. When they tried to pull him over, he took off, leading police on a chase down Route 8 into Ansonia, where he crashed.
Shut it off!
Into this home on Division Street.
Hands up now! Hands up! Hands up!
The woman was pulled out of the car as officers Matt Hoffman, Wilberto Rivera Colon, and Sergeant Chris Robinson converge. Sergeant Robinson saying the suspect had a weapon.
All right, he's got a gun.
They surrounded the vehicle and approached.
Hands up! Hands up! You want me to open it? Get out the car! Don't get out the ground! Show me the...
This is when a hail of gunfire erupts.
Shots fired! Shots fired, radio!
Shots that led to the death of Bell.
Get us medics over here.
It'll likely take several more months for the Division of Criminal Justice to determine if the officer's use of deadly force was justified. This is the first officer-involved shooting in Connecticut of the year 2024. Last year, there were 17. Reporting in Bridgeport, Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
New tonight, Shelton police are investigating the death of a pedestrian struck and killed by a driver this afternoon. Police say a man was hit in the area of School and Monroe Street around 1. He was pronounced dead on scene. No word on if the driver is cooperating with police or if they stayed on scene.
The man accused of shooting a teenager in Berlin appeared in court today. Benjamin Homar is accused of shooting a 17-year-old on Deming Road Sunday. Police say the teen walked into the hospital with a gunshot wound to her stomach. She has since been released. Homar is being held on $750,000 bond.
We now know the name of the woman who was hit and killed by a vehicle in Bristol earlier this month. Police say Felicia Yetke was hit while crossing Middle Street near Lake Avenue on February 1st. She was taken to the hospital where she died. Police say the driver who hit her is cooperating with police. They were not injured and they're not facing any charges. The investigation, though, is still ongoing. A teenager is facing charges in a deadly hit and run involving a stolen car in Orange. Police say the 16-year-old ran a red light and crashed into a tractor trailer on Route 34 at Orange Center Road back in October. Another teen in the car, Jasser Cyprian, died from his injuries. The driver left the scene in another car. He's now charged with manslaughter and other crimes. Police say they expect to make more arrests.
One person is dead after a vehicle was submerged in the Norwalk River. It happened in the area of Moody's Lane around noon yesterday. Firefighters say they removed 24-year-old Aaron Kraft from the vehicle. He was pronounced dead. Police say Kraft intentionally drove into the river and was the only one in the vehicle.
As the 2024 session gets underway, many groups are feeling let down by Governor Ned Lamont's budget proposal.
Fox 61 political reporter Emma Wolfhorst spoke with the state's colleges and universities.
Last February, hundreds of UConn students rallied at the state capitol calling for more funding from the governor and state legislature. Nearly 1 year later now, and higher education still hasn't gotten the investment schools say they desperately need.
We are looking at a deficit of approximately $140 million.
Connecticut's colleges and universities say the system desperately needs more funding.
We have made tens of millions of dollars in cuts. We've had to reach into our reserves, but the majority has been in cuts, and they have definitely been painful.
Cheng says the CSCU system has been able to close about $100 million of this gap by limiting services, letting go of part-time staff, and raising tuition. But he says there's still about $47 million in the red.
If we don't get that funding, we have to potentially make even deeper cuts, more painful cuts than we already have, reduce services even more. And frankly, we might have to consider raising tuition yet again.
The state's $51 billion bipartisan two-year budget passed last year, but lawmakers will open it back up for possible adjustments this session.
This budget makes our largest state grants ever to our state colleges and UConn.
The $26 billion plan for fiscal year 2025 doesn't include any additional funding for colleges and universities. The governor's budget does raise the base amount of money set aside for higher education, but overall funding for institutions would shrink, which schools say they can't sustain.
Even before ARPA, even before the federal funding, our budget was being balanced with one-time supplements. And now that those supplements and most recently the ARPA funding is going away, we find ourselves in a very deep structural deficit.
The Lamont administration says it's attempting to transition funding to a more sustainable place, saying colleges should not have relied on temporary federal funding. But CSCU and UConn say they've needed more money for a while.
When you invest in CSCU, you're investing in Connecticut. Every time we put $1 into the CSCU system, it pays back multiple fold.
And Cheng tells me he's already been in contact with the governor's office and legislative leadership to find solutions, saying, quote, "We're all on the same team." This 2024 short session means lawmakers only have 3 months to come to a consensus on the budget. In the studio, Emma Wolforst, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Emma. Turning to the weather now, another warm day out there today. It was really nice, but will it stick around for the weekend?
Yeah, that's the question. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now with the answer. Rach.
Yeah, the short answer is yes. It will stay warm into the weekend, but to varying degrees. I think tomorrow is the warmest day of the week. We're looking at highs in the 50s and even approaching 60. And while it will be somewhat cooler on Sunday, we'll still be way above average for this time of year. Upper 40s right now in Hartford. It is a beautiful evening. 44 in Waterbury, maybe taking the dog for a longer walk, or if you're heading out to grab a bite to eat. Low 40s right now from New Haven through Groton. Overnight, we will see increasing clouds, and there is a chance for some patchy fog as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. So some of you might see that if you're up early. Otherwise, we're looking at clouds and sunshine mix as we're heading towards lunchtime tomorrow. Temperatures are in the low 50s, and we'll see highs between 55 to near 60 as we head through tomorrow afternoon, especially if we see even just a little bit of sunshine. That will help temperatures really take off. There is a chance for a scattered shower as we head into tomorrow night. Not every town will see that, and then it turns again a couple degrees cooler as we head into your Sunday with highs in the upper 40s. We're quiet through the day on Monday, but Monday night into Tuesday, we have snow in the forecast. We'll talk about the latest, what we know, and what we're working on coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, Connecticut-based defense contractor Sikorsky is asking a lot of questions tonight. The U.S. Army announced it is backing out of a multi-billion-dollar project to buy a fleet of new helicopters.
You may recall the company lost out on a separate helicopter contract last year, and now Sikorsky and Connecticut leaders want to know what's going on here. Fox 61's Brooke Griffin has the very latest.
And good morning to you. The U.S. Army has said on multiple occasions now that they plan on completely revamping and renewing their aviation fleet by the quickly approaching year of 2030. But within the past year, they have canceled 2 helicopter building contracts with Sikorsky with no word on what's actually going to replace those contracts instead. The Army decided to end its efforts in building a new armed scout helicopter known as the Future Attack Recon Aircraft, or FARA. The branch has already spent $2 billion on the program and had requested an additional $5 billion to be provided over the next 5 years. But now the chopper prototypes have no future of actually ever flying. Sikorsky leaders say the new helicopter by the name of Raider X was expected to revolutionize recon abilities for the U.S. Army pilots in years to come, something they say is desperately needed. In a statement, Sikorsky leaders say we remain confident in our X-2 aircraft for U.S. and international mission needs, both now and in the future. We are disappointed in this decision and will await a U.S. Army debrief to better understand its choice. Connecticut's congressional delegation issued a joint statement as well. That's something we don't see often from all of them. Part of that statement reads, "We are extremely disappointed the Army has chosen to walk away from the FARA program. We have been told on multiple occasions by the Army that FARA was their #1 priority. This is a complete reversal of that position." And after losing out on the utility Blackhawk contract really a year ago, almost exactly this month, Sikorsky leaders originally said this deal was something that was imperative to them. But in that statement yesterday, they say that they have several contracts still withstanding with both the Marines and the Army, and they will try to continue to secure other contracts in the future. They say that this will not affect their operations. In Stratford, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Brooke, thank you.